just a good old boy.
Howdy y'all, today we're tedding hay. Fluffing hay is what we generally call it here in the South, but seems to be the more known term is tedding hay. We're tedding the hay that we cut here the other day. I did not cut any more after that because what do you know, the weatherman forecasted it wrong, they changed it. So hopefully we're not going to get, this won't get wet and we can get it all baled before it does, but any chance of us baling anything after this wasn't going to happen. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about the world of agriculture. I'm getting a lot of comments every so often about a certain subject, and it's technology. And there's a lot of things I want to address with that. There's a big debate going on right now, and agriculture is with technology. Is it getting too technical? Is there too much? Are we going too far? And why not just do it the old school way, the way we used to do things, and why are we using all this stuff like moisture monitors? I mean, with grain, you've got yield monitors. I mean, there's just so much stuff that goes into everything, even just something like hay now, that it's a little bit mind-blowing at just how far we have went and come in such a short amount of time with ag today. And to understand why, if you haven't been in the world of agriculture for several years, or if you've never been in it, why we are doing what we're doing today. I mean, the people that's been in ag, they kind of understand what the reasons are. But I just kind of want to explain for somebody that maybe hasn't been in ag, so they have a little bit better understanding of why we do the things we do, why there's so little profit made for a farmer when we have all this big machinery and everything. You look at it and you see millions of dollars tied up in machinery, in a lot of cases on a lot of farms, or hundreds of thousands of dollars. In today's ag, if we can buy that kind of machinery, why are we going broke? Well, the reason why is, if you've ever been in a business, this is going to make a lot more sense to you than somebody that's never run a business and knows what it takes to run a business and stay in business today. And if you're in business, imagine a world where all your input costs are set. You have to you have guidelines and things that government says you have to do things a certain way. You have to have a certain things done to that animal to go to sell or product. There's certain steps that you have set in stone that you have to follow. Regulations, government regulations and things. Ways we have to do things. So you have a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. So all your input costs are set across the board. So you go out and you make the absolute most perfect product you can. And it's the top quality product probably in the world. Arguably one of the best products in the world out there. So you go out and you spend all of these input costs to get it there that you have to spend. The prices are set for you on your input side. Then you turn around and you take that product that's probably the best in the world, should bring the top of the market in the world. It doesn't get really a whole lot better than what you're doing. So you go out there and you take your product out there and you put it out to sell. Well, you know what all your costs are. You know what your input costs were to produce that product. You know what you need to make in order to turn a profit. Well, then when you take it to sell it, you cannot set your price for what you make. You have to take what you are given. You have no control whatsoever of what you get. That is the world of agriculture today. Imagine being in business to where everything you do, you were told what money is going to cost you, and at the end of the day, you are at full mercy of everyone else, and you have absolutely no control over anything. The farmer gets told what his input costs are going to be, and then he gets told to produce a product, then he gets told what he's going to take. He has no control over it. And a lot of people will say, well, it's supply and demand. It is and it isn't. Ag markets are manipulated every day. I mean, you have to think too about the world we live in. Greed consumes everyone. Everybody, if you've been in business, you know, as much as your customers appreciate your business and everything and whatnot, when they go to pay, they're only concerned about their pocket. They don't care about yours. They don't care about nobody else's but theirs. That's the way business works around the world. I don't care what industry you're in. Alright? All those people that you have to buy every single thing it takes to produce that product is worried about their pocket. They have control over their pockets. The next thing is the markets you sell your stuff in. All those people are worried about their pocket. You have to take what they give you. You have no choice. So when it's all said and done, how many of y'all actually think there's going to be a lot left for me? Because there ain't. Everybody else is super greedy and they hog all the money and they suck it all up. And the person who's taking all the risk, who's doing all the work, and everything that goes into it is hung out to dry and makes nothing, pretty well nothing. They have to give you just enough for you to stay in business, and that's it. The next phase of that is the government. I want y'all to all think about this when you think about the way everything works. What's the two most important things for any human to survive? The two most important things that every human on this planet or every animal has to have to survive: food and water. You don't need power. You don't need technology. You don't need all the other wonderful things that's out here in the world, oil, whatever. The two main things to where you have to absolutely cannot live without for less than a week, maybe a little bit longer, is food and water. You have to have those two things. So wouldn't you think that two most highly paid people in the world will be people that controls water and the food? But in reality, the people who control the food are the least paid people in the entire world. Tell me how that makes sense. I will tell you how it makes sense. It makes sense because governments and countries around the world understand this. They know to have ultimate control, you have to control food and water. How do you keep somebody, say, a militia or revolutionary group that gets tired of the way things are and hold them down? Because ultimately they have the most control, because you have to have food, and the public is not capable of producing the food that they need to survive on most cases. Hell, they don't even know how to grow anything anymore. In the old days, everybody had a garden or something and they could be pretty self-sufficient. Nowadays, if you told somebody they had to go try to make food to survive and just drop the hammer on them, people would just go crazy. They would be the awfulest uproar, commotion, stores raided, tore apart. I mean, just ungodly would go on. Governments and countries know this. So the way that they manipulate farmers is they hold us down. Because they know ultimately we have probably the most power of any industry in the world. But they keep their boot down on us by money. Anytime the farmer gets to where he's making a good bit of money, they pass new laws, regulations, or something to bring us back down, because they don't want us to ever get ahead because we hold too much power. If we did get independent enough and united, farmers never unite because we're all in business against one another. We're all friends and we'll all help one another out when it comes down to it to a certain extent. But in reality, we're all in competition against one another. The next thing is that's also our Achilles heel. We are killing ourselves by producing more and more. The more we produce, the more there is on the market, the cheaper the prices get. Used to, we didn't have the technology and things we have today available to us, and we couldn't produce like we could, and that was why there was a lot more farmers and there's more money in the industry. Nowadays, a lot of this is controlled now. We've been pushed this direction by governments, other people trying to make all they can and everything else, to the point to where we have to produce a lot. So people say, why do you need a GPS? Why not just go out there and drive around like we used to and guesstimate how far you are from your tracks? If you have 2 or 3 foot overlap every so often, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is, or like, why do you need a moisture monitor? What does that matter? If you get 100 green bales, whatever, just feed them to your cows and go on. What's the point of that? Our tolerances are so close due to all the reasons I've told y'all. We cannot sustain losing that kind of money anymore and turn a profit and expect to make a living. Everything is in such a fine line that we have absolutely no choice but to go further and try to do more and try to be more efficient. That's where technology comes in. We keep trying to do more and more because every year we make less and less. So you have to go out and produce more just so you can make what you did 10 years ago when you were making, say, half what you are now. So you have to go out and keep producing more and more and more because the rest of the world is extremely greedy and the farmer has absolutely no control over what he makes. So we all love what we do and we all want to do what we do because that's what we're good at. We have a passion for it and a drive. Just like anybody else in any other industry out there. Say you're in a car industry and you love working on cars, building hot rods, or doing something like that. You have the same, farmers have the same drive and passion to do that. And that's what we love to do, and that's why we do it. And everybody else is consumed with trying to make as much as they possibly can, and the farmer keeps making less and less, is my point. And the technology thing is us trying to get to where we can make more money. But in reality, we're actually killing ourselves. If we'd all unite, which is never going to happen, because none of us like the idea of unions or anything else, but that's the whole issue. And the other thing is, too, with the whole uniting, when we form these groups that are supposed to represent us, there's a lot of money that gets influenced in that, and crooked people come along, and it ends up turning into something that it's not supposed to be. And every group that's ever tried to do anything, that's what it is, because you get these people who aren't in ag come in, and they get into it, and they end up screwing it all up, and just taking advantage of the farmer in the end, just like everything. And the problem, though, is this technology. If I go out and I bale 100 bales of hay, they mold. That's a lot of money to lose. And you've lost all that in today's world. Spraying. I can go out. I can take my sprayer. I need to cover so much ground in a certain amount of time to turn a profit because I got to produce more to try to make more money. Or otherwise, I won't be in farming at all. And with the GPS and stuff, it allows me to buy a lot larger sprayer. Planters, same thing. A lot larger planters, cover more acres quicker. You cannot, in most circumstances, go out there and do those things and be accurate without them. And when you're talking, at the end of the day, what herbicides or seeds or everything costs us now to produce this stuff, fertilizer, whatever it is, because your input costs are so high, you need to be very precise because there's such a fine margin. And everybody's probably wondering, well, why do y'all put up with this? We have no choice. we either quit and give up our livelihood, all we've ever known, and what we've always done and what we love, which none of us are willing to do. We don't want to quit. There's been a lot of people has quit and given up, walked away from farming, or had to quit and was forced into it and had no choice. There's lots of different situations. And that's why there's so many fewer younger people at my age going into ag today. There's no money in it. You can't. There's a lot of ways it's easier to make money. Accumulators. Hey, accumulators. You get asked all the time by people, why don't you just do it the old school way? The way we used to do it back in the day. Why don't you go out there and get you 4 or 5 young guys and get you a trailer and just have them throw it on there? Well, you can't get those guys. And then that's a lot of expense. I can go buy an accumulator like the Coons, 10 grand, around that, kind of in that area, which sounds like a lot of money, till you're paying those guys to do that job. We're not doing like a lot of folks used to do in the old days, getting up hundreds of bales, maybe less than 5,000-6,000 bales a year in squares, and just bale a few times a year and that's it. We're getting up several thousands of bales of hay, and you have to do that to turn a profit or you'll go out of business. And you can't get people to do that kind of work. They won't even do it for a day. You can't even get young guys, old guys, or mid-aged guys, foreigners, whatever. You can't get anybody to pick hay up anymore. So I'm tied to needing that piece of machinery. Hence, I'm dependent on more input cost equipment companies to produce what I need to produce so I can turn a profit. So that's the whole thing. You can't get those guys. I had a friend of ours told us the other day he can't even get anybody to work for him running equipment for $20 an hour anymore. They won't even work $15, $20 an hour. People say, they'll come to him and they'll say, too hard to work, won't do it. And they won't work for them no more. And they're just farming like I do every day. No difference. And then people, when they come in and farm for you, they want to ride around the tractor all day. Well, I don't get to ride around the tractor all day. There's a lot of days I spend in the tractor. There's a lot of days I spend doing other things too on the farm. And you can't do that every day. And it takes a lot of other work that people don't a lot of times see, such as mechanic work, maintenance, and a lot of other physical labor that goes into all this stuff to do all this stuff and keep everything going. And that is why ag is the way it is today. And I hope people kind of get a little bit better idea. Farmers have absolutely no control over their profit whatsoever. They're told what their expenses are going to cost them to produce that product, and then when they sell it, they're told what it's going to cost them, what money they're going to get for their product. They have absolutely no choice. It's not like the free market world, and it's all driven by supply and demand, and you can develop ways to do things to save you money. There's a little bit of that in ag, but not much. It doesn't work the way other industries work. And I think that is why so many farmers get so mad when people accuse them of having money given to them to farm. That goes back to the thing with the ag, with the government trying to control the markets and how we do. When they screw up, that's when they give us the money to make up for it. And they don't even give us anything. If you really want to know the truth, the way that works is I don't get none of it no way. This is primarily mostly row crop that gets or grain farming that gets subsidies and things. Beef farmers and hay farmers really don't get anything. But those guys, they go out and they produce that, and then they lose their rear end, and they're going to go out of business, and it's going to cause mass chaos. So the government comes in and says, well, we produce these regulations to where you can't make this money. We went a little bit too far. Here you go. We don't ever really get any of that money. If you really want to know the truth, When they pass that money to to go to the farmer never gets it. If we get it, it's such a small percentage, it's not even close to what you lost. And we get the middle finger. The people who actually get it are people that's under the table, that's dirty, that don't need to be getting it in the first place. That's who actually gets it. Other industries and things, they move money around and put it in other places than it actually going to the farmer. And people just don't understand that. It's the world of agriculture is so misinterpreted. It's unbelievable. That's why everything is the way it is, to the best of my abilities to explain it. I'm sure somebody's not going to agree with me and going to try to dispute some of the things I said, but that's my interpretation of the way things are and why they are the way they are. We should be the highest paid people in this country, or if not, some of the highest paid people in this country in our industry. And if there is ever an industry, honestly, as much as I hate the idea of saying it, that needs a union, is probably agriculture. I hate unions. I hate even the thought or idea of one. And no farmer wants government involved. And people say, why do you want this government regulation passed? It's just more government rule or something that's going to actually benefit the farmer. Because some people can't stomach the idea of even having any government interference. I'm right there with you. But we're stuck with them. We have no choice but to deal with them and have to try to work through those guidelines and work with the government trying to get stuff passed in our favor. It's kind of like you got to fight fire with fire. And they're never going to let us just farm without them in it. It's not going to happen. So you've kind of got to try to play in their ballpark and put pressure on politicians to try to get things done that will benefit you, because they're never going to leave you alone and let you make any money. Wherever there's a dollar that can be stole, it's going to be stolen. And it's just the way it is. I mean, it's a product of all the things I said. It's very complicated, a lot of things that goes in it. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.